speaking of like a nightmare world to live in, fucking Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh my god. This is like, I don't even know. Like, it's literally just like no breaks.
Nah.
There's like no breaks. It's just like, it's so unbelievably well paced.
Yes.
I don't even know what to like. I don't know if I like expected for there to be like, a downtime episode or some shit like that. But I was like, no, of course they wouldn't do that. The fire scene.
A lot of people have been commenting about that one all over the place. That scene, like I've seen it come up on like Twitter and other people's reviews. Like I watched a lot of live reactions to see what the balance of response was, and I feel like that scene fucked a lot of people up just because of how it, suddenly goes from 0 to 100. Even though
it literally just immediately hits the ground running, like. And then the cherry on, well, not the cherry on top because it's not delicious, but like the like climactic moment is when the homegirl almost got through the door and then like bursted at like
she did the horror movie trip. Like she didn't get like 5 feet. She was like, oh wait, I'm in a horror movie. Nope, I'm gonna trip on my own feet.
For a second, I thought that the other ones were just gonna hop in and just like fuck her body up or something. Like, as opposed to the fire, I was like, please don't let there be no body gore right now. Because I was like, we already got a head being cut off within the first 5 minutes.
I got bad news for you.
I know more is coming. I know more is coming.
Bad news.
Oh, God. I'm just like... He got so excited about that box thing, and then homeboy who like quit the job.
That was my favorite part of the episode. No cap.
I was like, damn. I was like, do you have to quit the job? Can you just?
It was actually great, and it actually made me think of one of the things that I'm so happy with this series and how they've managed to like deal with the production and direction. So like when you read the manga, there's a lot of like one-liner comedy or comedic situations that are paced in exactly the right place for you to like breathe a little bit and then like chuckle, then you're reading
and then shit hit the fan.
And, yeah, right, exactly. Usually like the comedy will be followed by like some exposition, and then it's like abruptly like some fucked up shit happens, or like the action kicks off, or like whatever. And so I hadn't really thought about it when I was watching the first few episodes, because I'm not rereading it at the moment, so it's not fresh in my mind. But like what they've managed to do, in addition to like borrowing the right themes and tropes and ideas, and basically referencing from other stuff, they've also managed to fix one of the major pacing issues that shonen have, because it's actually very normal for like even a like extreme kind of combat oriented, action oriented show to have comedy in it, and to have dramatic exposition in it, and to have all these other pieces. But it's often the criticism. A lot of like One Piece folks feel this way, and a lot like fans of One Piece and other the other big series, that sometimes you just get to these like chapters, these episodes, where you'll just look and it's a wall of text, because they have to get through large bits of the story, and exposition is the only way to fucking do it. What they do in Jujutsu Kaisen is that they break everything up. So you'll get like longer fights in the anime. Like they extended, for example, the Megumi versus Sukuna fight. They embellished it and added some scenes and other things. Like it was not as DBZ as it was here. But that's like creative license and like, show not tell, blah 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 blah. Good, I think that's good. Good idea, good direction. But when it comes to like the way you slot these scenes together, think about not just this horror segment, but in this episode when Megumi and Nobara are training with the second years, and then you get like maybe a minute and a half or 2 minutes of Megumi talking to what's the Zenin girl? I'm forgetting her name. Maki Zenin. And they're talking about like techniques, and then Maki Zenin says like, "Hey, the reason why you guys are here is because you're trash at close range." And she, throws him the weapon, and then hard cut. They don't even like break a sweat to Gojo telling Yuji that actually he's bad at curse techniques and curse energy. So in a completely different scene. And then they go back and forth a couple of times in their training montages or communication. And one of the things that they, it's a trick, which I like, that they do in the scene is when Maki is talking to Megumi, it's an exposition dump and kind of a mini explanation about weapons. But then when you cut to Yuji, it's actually comedy. And then when they cut back to the second years, there's a little bit of comedy. And then they cut, but not much exposition. Then you see Megumi do the thing where he like reaches down and he thinks back to what Sukuna said. He's like, maybe I can fuck up special grades. And then they cut back to Yuji, but instead of hitting you with more comedy, they give you an explanation of curse energy. So what I'm saying is that like they break up. You could imagine that you could take those two scenes and instead of cutting them so that they're in the middle of each other, that each scene is led to play out like in the 3 or 4 minutes, like with no cuts, no edits. And you would get the exact same information across, but like it wouldn't be anywhere remotely as interesting to watch, because just when you get a little bit bored or a little bit like where the action level or like the freneticness or the chaoticness of what you're seeing in the scene drops down, right? Because like Panda throws Nobara in the background, but then that's only for a second. Like they take you to another place so that you're not bored, and they're not doing anything like flashy, like doing big techniques or screaming at each other. And that's played out across the episode where they'll let you stay in a place for a long time if they want to fuck with you, like the horror scenes, people catching on fire. That was actually a pretty long segment.
Yeah.
Right?
It went on for a while.
Right. And you just knew that like you were getting hints that like shit was gonna go down. But I don't think anyone believed who hadn't like read was gonna be like, oh, everyone in that place is gonna die horribly. Like that. Do you remember the reaction shot of the schoolgirl who's in the booth and her friend catches on fire and she stands up and she's like, what the fuck? And then she catches on fire. So like the reaction she had to her friend getting crisped up is a reaction then the audience is forced to have when she instantly catches on fire. Like that in another series could actually be that's actually, well, not even another series, that's actually a comedy beat. Like not people dying, but the shock into shock. Like that's how you would do like a pratfall comedy thing, but it's horror, so it's highly intense. So there's like directorial decisions. Some of it is probably just straight out of the manga chapter. But my guess is that if I went back and looked at it, some of these scenes were not cut together the way they were cut together. And that's the thing I complained about with the God of High School adaptation. That's it right there, which is they were trying to rush through so much material that they actually just like took things that were like really boring and like difficult to parse and presented them very flatly so they could get you just to like an action scene of people punching and kicking each other. And the only time that show got good was when they managed to like weave the story and exposition into like around a fight. So a fight's happening, then you're cutting over to people talking, then you come back to the fight. Like that's some basic ass shit. Jujutsu Kaisen is just already laid out that way. So you get everything in an episode. You get horror, you get action, you get exposition, you get funny comedy. And none of it seems out of place, but a lot of it is in places that you don't expect. So you're constantly like vibing to the point where like 20 minutes goes by, you're like, oh damn, the episode's over, fuck. So it's a good episode. Also, we got to see like Jogo about to face off with Satoru Gojo, so that'll be hot.
Yeah, that actually, I was like annoyed that was the end. Yeah. I was like so hyped to at least maybe get like the first little bit of fight, and I was like, oh my god, it fucking ended. Like, no.
But you got a lot in that episode, I think.
Oh no, yeah, there was a shit ton. I also found, I mean, the comedy points were funny this time anyways, especially like Nobara in the background with Panda.
Yes.
I was just like, what the fuck is going on back there? And then Yuji on the floor and how they like animated him as a little like white blob. And he was like, and he was talking about, I want to do a Rasengan.
Yeah.
And blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh my God.
You want a Bankai, a Spirit Gun, a Rasengan, a Dodon Ray, which is also from Dragon Ball Z, and a Kamehameha.
Yeah.
Well, it
I
was actually
like,
it's funny.
damn.
There's a little thing there because like, not that anybody cares, but like Dodonray was a big move in the original Dragon Ball. It's almost never mentioned in Dragon Ball Z, and Kamehameha is obviously iconic from both series. So like the inclusion of that, I like, and it's also a little like pointed reminder that Dragon Ball itself was massively popular in Japan, and it was like it didn't really have as much purchase in the US because by the time we were getting Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball was some old thing, and I think eventually they wound up airing it on Cartoon Network, right? The original Dragon
Yeah, they
Ball.
did.
But this
Yeah,
was
because I remember
after.
watching that shit and I was like, what is this?
Why is it so old? Why is the music different? Why, you know what I mean? Like, so that's just a little thing for me that says I don't know how old Gege Yakutami is, but my guess is just old enough to have watched and been around for the culture that grew up on let me rephrase that. In the West, Dragon Ball is just Dragon Ball Z. In Japan and other countries and in South America, Dragon Ball encompasses both the original series and Z, and all of it is beloved. So I like that it seems something a lot to mine out of like one little throwaway line, but like you don't include that unless you were a fan. So
God.
so like little things.